I remember the exact moment the room went silent. Not the normal kind of silence when music stops or someone says something awkward, but the kind that feels like the air itself just realized it shouldn't be there. And the worst part is, the thing my best friend said was true. I just didn't know how he knew. At the party, my best friend revealed a secret no one was supposed to know. I haven't told this story properly before. I've tried therapists, late night confession threads, half written emails I never sent, but every time I get near the center of it, something in me pulls back like I'm touching a live wire. But it's been 6 years now. I don't sleep well anyway. And the truth doesn't rot, it waits. It started with a completely normal party. That's what makes it hard to explain why my hands still shake when I hear ice clink in a glass. Mark and I had been friends since we were 12. The kind of friendship people assume is permanent. So sad. Same school, same gaming phase, same terrible band we tried to start. He was louder than me, more reckless, more likable. I was the planner, the cleaner upper, the one who remembered details. We drifted in our 20s. Nothing dramatic, just jobs, cities, relationships that didn't overlap. Sheesh. Still texted memes. Still met a few times a year. When he invited me to his engagement party, I almost didn't go, not because I didn't want to, but because I hadn't been around that crowd in years. His new friends, his new life. His new life. I'd met his fiancée Lila once, sharp, confident, observant, in a way that made me feel like she cataloged people. Come on, he told me on the phone. It'll be like old times. I mean, upgraded old times. With alcohol that doesn't come in plastic bottles? I laughed. I said yes. If I hadn't gone, I sometimes wonder who would be dead now. The house was rented. One of those modern glass and stone places on the edge of the hills outside the city. Too big to feel personal. Too clean. The kind of place where your reflection follows you in every surface. There were maybe 30 people there. Music low. Expensive wine. A catered spread that looked like it belonged in a magazine. The vibe was warm but curated. Like everyone had been pre-approved. Mark hugged me hard when I came in. Dude, you made it. You sound surprised. I'm relieved. You're my reality anchor tonight. I didn't know what he meant by that at the time. Lila greeted me with a smile that was perfectly measured. Friendly but not inviting closeness. Her eyes held a half second too long, like she was confirming I matched a description. Good to finally have the legendary childhood friend here, she said. Legendary, that word sat oddly with me. The first hour was easy. Drinks, stories, Mark retelling exaggerated versions of things we did as teenagers. People laughing. I relaxed. But twice, exactly twice, I noticed something that didn't fit. The first was when I went looking for the bathroom upstairs. I opened the wrong door and found a bedroom with no furniture except a folding table and 3 laptops open and running. Not screensavers, active dashboards, graphs, camera feeds, audio waveforms. One screen showed the driveway outside, another, the kitchen, another, the living room where the party was happening. I stepped back and shut the door, assuming it was security monitoring. Rich rental house makes sense. Still, why not mention it? The second moment was smaller. Lila standing near the bar, speaking quietly to a man in a gray jacket. I caught only one sentence as I passed. No, he doesn't know. That's why tonight works. She smiled when she saw me listening, not startled, just smoothly transitioning into a laugh like nothing had been said. I told myself I misheard. That's what people do when they sense the first ripple of something wrong. We edit reality to stay comfortable. By 10, everyone was pleasantly drunk. Mark more than anyone. He wasn't sloppy, just loose, emotional. He dragged me into a toast circle. To old friends, he announced, raising his glass. Are the ones who know who you were before you lied to become who you are. People chuckled. I felt a strange chill at that wording. He turned to me. You remember the lake house? He said. His stomach tightened. And which one? I asked carefully. He grinned too wide. The one we never told anyone about. My pulse jumped. I kept my face neutral. And we had a lot of secrets, I said lightly. And not like that one. There was a beat, a micro pause, where his eyes locked onto mine with a clarity that cut straight through the alcohol haze. Then he laughed and drank. Conversation moved on. But something inside me did not. I hadn't thought about the lake house in years, and not really. Memory is selective when guilt is involved. It doesn't erase. It blurs edges. We were 17, summer, a place Mark's uncle owned but rarely used. We weren't supposed to be there, but we went anyway. 3 of us, Mark, me, and Darren Holt. Darren, loudmouth, show off, always pushing dares too far. There was a night swim, drinking, a stupid argument on the dock, a shove that wasn't meant to be serious, a fall, a crack. The sound is what never left me, not the splash, the impact before the water. We told ourselves he'd surface. He didn't. We searched for 10 minutes, then panic replaced courage. We agreed, without saying it outright, that this had to disappear. We left. The next day there were search boats. Police. Questions. Body never found. Case went cold. Mark and I never spoke about it again, not once. Until the party. Around 11, Mark pulled me aside. You okay? He asked. Yeah, why? You're pale. A bad wine. He studied my face longer than comfortable. You ever think about that night? He said quietly. My throat tightened. Sometimes. I think about it every day. That's not funny. I'm not joking. His voice had changed, flattened, like someone reading from a script. I know what you did after, he said. The room noise seemed to recede like I was underwater. After what? I asked. After we left the dock. My mouth went dry. I don't know what you mean. He leaned closer, gay, and stared. I know you went back. I didn't breathe. Because I had. I went back alone an hour later. I've never told anyone that. Not police. Not Mark. No one. The water had gone still. I stood on the dock shaking, whispering Darren's name like that could undo physics. I saw something pale below the surface near the posts. Fabric, maybe? I couldn't tell. I ran. No one knew. No one could know. Unless, that's not funny, I repeated. Mark smiled, but it wasn't his normal smile. Relax, he said. Secrets are safer when shared. Then he walked away. I stood there unable to move. I left the main room and went upstairs again. I don't fully know why. Instinct, maybe? I needed air. Distance. Something solid. The laptop room door was open now. The screens were different, not camera feeds, files, folders labeled with names, guest names. Inside each, photos, addresses, social media screenshots, work info, family details, profiles, dossiers, including mine. I opened it with numb fingers. My apartment building photo, my job, my bank branch, my car plate, and one line that froze my blood. Lake, confirmed presence, secondary return, subject unaware of record. Record of what? My ears rang. Behind me, the floor creaked. I turned. Lila stood in the doorway. No surprise, no panic, just calm. You weren't supposed to see that yet, she said. I expected anger. Instead, she sounded almost sympathetic. What is this? I asked. Insurance, she replied. On what? The truth. That's not an answer. She stepped inside and closed the door softly behind her. Mark trusts easily, she said. I verify. You ran background checks on party guests? Deep ones. Why? Because guilt makes people predictable. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. You're not making sense. You went back to the dock, she said. Cold shot through my spine. How do you know that? We recovered audio. From where? She tilted her head. From Darren's phone. My knees nearly gave. It was in his pocket, she continued. A waterproof model. It recorded for 42 minutes after the fall. Impact. Voices. Splash. Then later, footsteps on wood. Your voice. Impossible. The phone was never found, unless the body was. Where is it? I whispered as if she said. Why are you doing this? Because people who get away with things once are statistically likely to do it again. It was an accident. Most first kills are. The word hit like a hammer. I didn't kill him. You left him. I had no answer. Downstairs, someone cheered. Glass shattered. The party continued. Upstairs, my past stood breathing in front of me. What do you want? I asked. Nothing, she said. Tonight isn't about you. Then why tell me? Because Mark insisted you be here? My stomach dropped. He knows? Oh, yes, she said. He knows everything. I shook my head. No, he can't. He heard the audio. The room felt smaller. He wanted closure, she continued. Confrontation, a kind of truth ceremony. This is insane. Yes, she agreed softly. These things usually are. Where is he? Preparing. For what? For what? She smiled, and that's when I knew the party was never a party. It was a stage, and I was already on it. I tried to leave. My car keys were gone. Front door locked with a keypad. My phone showed no signal, not low, none, like a Jamar was active. I checked 3 windows, sealed security glass. Love. When I turned, the gray jacket man from earlier stood behind me holding a drink. Don't stress, he said casually. A program starts soon. A what program? I'll see. I looked around. Other guests didn't look drunk anymore. They looked attentive, waiting, like an audience between acts. That's when the screens descended from the ceiling in the living room. 3 of them. And Mark took the center floor with a microphone, smiling, crying, shaking. And my friends, he said, tonight is about honesty. I felt my legs go weak. Because lies, he continued, are how monsters survive. The first audio clip played water, laughter, Darren's voice, Mike's voice, the shove, the crack, the splash, and then later my whisper on the dock. Darren, please, come up. My soul left my body listening to myself beg a dead boy to fix what I'd done. Gasps filled the room. Mark looked straight at me. You said no one knew, he said. I couldn't speak. I believed you, he added, voice breaking. For years. The room watched like a courtroom. This is insane, I said hoarsely. No, Lila said from beside the projector. This is documented? This is documented. The twist, the real one, didn't hit until minutes later, because after my clip ended, another began. Different night, different doc, different voice. Mark's, angry, threatening, Darren pleading, a second shove, a second splash. My mind split. I stared at him. He stared back. And in that moment, I understood. He had pushed Darren first. My shove was later, panicked, stupid, but not the fatal one. He knew. He always knew. And this entire night wasn't about truth. It was about sharing blame. If I fall, Mark said into the silent room, I'm not falling alone. That was the real secret no one was supposed to know. Not mine, his. Everything after that moved fast and slow at the same time, like a nightmare where physics argues with itself. People shouting, someone calling it a setup. Someone else demanding police. Lila yelling for calm. Mark crying, laughing, unraveling. Me realizing the most dangerous person in the room wasn't exposing me. He was cornered. Cornered people don't confess. They eliminate variables. He looked at me with something like apology. Then reached into his jacket. Gun, I moved before thought. Impact, floor, screams. The shot hit the projector. Sparks. Darkness, chaos. I crawled, not away, toward him. I don't know why. Instinct maybe. History maybe. He was sobbing. I couldn't carry it alone, he kept saying. I couldn't. Security tackled him. Real security, not guests. Meaning this had layers even I didn't understand. Police were already on the way. Of course they were. This was never private. It was a controlled detonation. I was just one of the explosives. In the aftermath, charges spread like cracks through glass. Mark confessed fully within 12 hours. Lila worked with a cold case group that engineered confrontations to trigger admissions. The party guests were observers, legal monitors, behavioral analysts, not friends, not random. In operation, my presence ensured emotional destabilization. I was leverage. I wasn't arrested, my part legally insufficient for homicide, and not innocent enough to sleep again. Darren's remains were recovered from silt 30 meters from the dock 2 months later. Phone still in pocket, still recording silence. People ask why I never suspected anything. Here's the truth, because guilt makes you cooperative, because secrets make you walk into traps willingly, because when someone says, come celebrate with me, you don't expect a courtroom behind the balloons. I don't drink anymore. I don't attend parties. And I never, ever answer unknown invitations because sometimes the past doesn't come back quietly. Sometimes it books a venue and puts your name on the guest list.